Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new here. My name is Claire and I put out videos about luxury bags and accessories. So if that is your thing, please click on the subscribe button, hit the notification bell and you'll know when I upload a new video. So today's video is a tag video, and this tag was created by Connor from The Closet by Connor. And I have been tagged by the lovely Deb from Wild Unfiltered and the lovely Hanne from So Much Design by Hanne. So thank you so much to Deb and Hanne for tagging me. And thank you to Connor for creating this tag, which is the lessons I have learned from buying luxury. So yes, they're all making me search my soul and admit that I have made mistakes and had to learn some hard lessons. Now, quite a few creators have done this video already, and those that I'm aware of that have done that, I will link down below. I've been watching them all and they're really good, and a lot of the lessons, obviously, they are lessons I've learned. I agree with so many of them because we've all made the same mistakes, we've all learnt lessons from that. So I wanted to try not to do too much repetition. I know possibly some of the things I might say some of the others have already said as well. I'm going to try and put my spin on it and make it very, very personal to me. So I have made some notes on my phone, so forgive me if I'm looking up and down at my phone. I just want to make sure that I do include everything I wanted to talk about. So many of us on our channel say buy what you love, and I totally agree with that. I say it myself, buy what you love. However, that's not always easy. If you're anything like me, you might love lots of things, but you don't have the funds to buy everything you love. You might love certain things, but they just might not be the right thing for you. No matter how much you love them, they might just not fit in with your life. So how do I make the decision to buy what I love, but make sure it is something that will work out for me and that it is the better thing out of maybe 2 or 3 things that I love, if that makes sense. So a lesson I've had to learn is how to really consider my purchases, and one of the things I do is quite a bit of visualization, and I don't mean this in terms of like visualize, manifest what you want and you'll get it, all of that. I don't subscribe to that. I'm talking about literally visualizing myself with the item. So I see an item that I love, and then I just spend a bit of time thinking about how it would fit into my life, and I imagine myself with the item. Now, I don't imagine myself in my fantasy life. Amelia Rose talks about her fantasy life quite a lot. She has an amazing fantasy life, and I have to admit that my fantasy life is pretty amazing too. But this is all about being real. Unfortunately, we can't live our fantasy life, and I have to live my real life. So I imagine the item fitting into my real life. I visualize myself wearing it with lots of different outfits in my wardrobe, the clothes that I wear the most. I think about the things I do, the places I go the most, and I imagine myself carrying that item, because it's usually a bag. So I imagine myself carrying that item to those places, to those events, to those things. Just everything I do in my normal, real life, day to day. And usually by doing that, I can get a feel for whether the item is going to fit in with my lifestyle or not. Case in point, when Fendi released its 25-year anniversary baguettes, I loved so many of those pieces. I really did love some of those baguettes. However, every time I looked at one and came close to maybe adding to cart or contacting my sales associate about that baguette, I visualised that baguette and how it might fit into my life. And I realised that most of those baguettes that I loved just would not fit with my lifestyle. They just wouldn't work with my outfits, my style, and the things that I do. As much as I loved them, as much as I thought they were gorgeous, I couldn't see myself getting the use out of them. So at that point I discounted all of those 25-year anniversary ones, as much as I loved them. And I then thought about the canvas and the leather ones. Again, I kept visualising it, I kept imagining myself with the different baguettes. And through that process, I kind of narrowed it down to 2 of the Napa leather baguettes, and that was the blue one and the beige one. I imagined all the different colours, and they were the 2 colours and the 2 styles that I felt would really suit me and suit my lifestyle, and probably out of all the baguettes that I loved, would probably be the best 2 for me. And then at that point, it really did just come down to what do I love the most. And obviously, if you've watched my channel at all recently, you'll know that I went for the blue. And yeah, I haven't regretted it at all. But you know, this was my first Fendi baguette. I had to be sure I got the right one, and that was the way I considered how I did it. Now, I think it sounds a bit more complicated to explain than it actually is to do in practice. It's just a case of really thinking about what you want to buy, you know, how it fits in with your life, your wardrobe and all of that. No matter how much you might love it, there is a chance it might not work for you. So yes, I definitely subscribe to buy what you love, but you might have to accept sometimes that what you love might not fit into your lifestyle. And so it's just a way that over the years I have learned to try and be considered over my purchases, to buy what I love but in the confines of what I know will work for me, so that I don't make too many luxury mistakes. I did the same sort of thing with the sequin baguette that I've recently unboxed. I've always loved the sequin baguettes, the regular size, the minis. They come in some beautiful colours, the fuchsia, the purple, the blue, all of them. I've loved them. But every time I've seen one that I've really loved, like the purple one or the fuchsia one, I've thought about how I could work it into my wardrobe and into my life. And again, kind of using that visualization made me realise that they weren't really the ones for me. They weren't the right colour for me. Once I saw the burgundy one and I started thinking about that one and visualising that, I knew quite quickly that was the one I needed to go for. Again, I've been waiting for the sequin in the right colour, the right one that fitted in with my lifestyle. So yes, I love the fuchsia one, yes, I love the purple one, but when the burgundy one came along, that was the one I loved that would actually work for me. Now that is just personally how I give consideration to my purchases. I'm not saying that I don't impulse buy, because I do impulse buy, and I have made quite a few impulse buys, and some of them have turned out to be really good buys. So I'm definitely not saying there's anything wrong with impulse buying. This bag was an impulse buy. This came up on the pre-love market, and literally within minutes of me seeing this advertised on a Facebook group, I had messaged the seller and I had agreed to purchase it. Complete and utter impulse. However, there was still a bit of consideration behind this, because I had already thought about the business affinity style bag as being a good style of bag for me. So I kind of already established that that was a good bag for me, and I had already decided that I would like possibly a Chanel classic flap in burgundy. So when this came up, okay, it wasn't a classic flap, but it was the business affinity, it was in burgundy, so it kind of ticked both of those boxes. So I knew that actually, yeah, my burgundy bag didn't have to be a classic flap, it could quite easily be the business affinity. So I jumped on this straight away. So there was a bit of consideration behind it, but yeah, it was an impulse buy. So, you know, nothing wrong with impulse buys. I've made impulse buys before where I've ordered online, I've seen something and been very impulsive and ordered it. A lot of my impulse buys, I try to make them from places that have that safety net of a returns policy. I definitely have ordered a few luxury items in the past on impulse, but knowing that if they arrive and they're not for me and I don't like them, I have got that safety net of a returns policy. So the next luxury lesson is, I've learned, is sometimes a dupe will do, sometimes a dupe won't do. Now, when I say dupe, I want to make it clear that I am talking of dupes inspired by items, not fakes or replicas. I did a video a little while back about quite a few shoes I have that are dupes for the luxury or designer version, and how I actually get on really well with some of those dupes. So an example of this is my Hermes Oran sandals. That's my Oran sandals in sort of the rose gold. I like these, I wear them. They are not the most comfortable sandals. I wear them more as an occasion, evening sandal. But what I do absolutely adore are my kind of dupes for those, which are my Dune Lupe sandals, and I have these in the gold, and I have the Dune ones in quite a few other colours as well. And I find that these are extremely comfortable. I can wear them all day, and you know, for me they are a perfect dupe. They give you the same kind of look as the Oran sandal for a lot less money, and they're actually more comfortable and more wearable for me. So in that respect, a dupe will do. And in that video I talked about plenty of other shoes where I also have the dupe of the sort of designer version. So yes, sometimes a dupe will do, Sometimes a dupe will just not do. Now, using my Chanel 19 as an example, when I decided I wanted to get that bag, it was a lot of money. It still is a lot of money. It's more money than it was back then when I bought it. It's gone up, obviously. It was a lot of money. I did end up getting it pre-loved, but I still spent close to the retail price, even getting a pre-loved one. And at the time I thought, you know, do I really want to spend that sort of money on the bag? Is there a dupe? I like the kind of style of the bag, and I like the idea of this bag. Is there a dupe out there? And I looked at all the dupes, because there were quite a few dupes for the 19 from quite a few different contemporary brands, some high street brands, all that. I had a good look. Is there a dupe for the 19 bag? Not for me. A dupe just would not do. Nothing came close for me really, and I just thought, I'd rather have the 19 or nothing. There isn't going to be a dupe out there that is going to satisfy me wanting to get the 19. So, you know, if I can't afford the 19, then I just don't get it. You know, I saved up, and, you know, again, if you've watched my videos, you know that my husband contributed half towards that bag from a very special birthday for me. So I was able to purchase the 19 and get the real thing. And so for me, on that particular bag, a dupe just wouldn't do. I tend to find that, yes, dupes for shoes will do for me, but it's not very often that a dupe of a bag will do for me. That's a lesson I've learned. A few years ago I was looking to purchase a peekaboo, so I bought a dupe of a peekaboo, of a Fendi peekaboo. I spent quite a bit of money on the dupe actually, and when it came it was dreadful quality. It was really bad quality. It had been described as real leather, and it wasn't real leather. It said it had silver hardware and it had gold. It was very stiff and it was just awful. I ended up giving it away. I didn't like it at all. To be honest, it did kind of put me off the peekaboo for a little bit, because I thought, oh, you know, maybe this isn't the bag for me. Having seen peekaboos in the boutique now, they are 1,000 times better than the dupe. I'm still not 100% sure if they're the bag for me, but I certainly do like them. And again, if I ever decide to get a peekaboo, it's got to be a Fendi peekaboo, not a dupe. The dupe just didn't work. So I've definitely learned a lesson that for me, dupes of bags probably won't do. I either, as I say, have to have the actual bag or not at all. But dupes of shoes are a completely different ball game. Quite often I will be happy with the dupe of a shoe. Now, one of the luxury lessons I've learned is to do with social media. And when I first started buying designer handbags, there was no such thing as social media out there, and I really did just, you know, like I said, buy what I love, because I'd had nobody on social media telling me this was the right or wrong bag to buy. I just bought what I loved. When I discovered social media and luxury YouTube, I mean, that was a revelation. It was like, wow, there's other people out there like me that, you know, love buying these things and love talking about them. So I was really happy I discovered luxury YouTube, but I think you have to view it with a lot of caution. I remember a couple of years ago, I think as we were coming out of lockdown probably, I think probably about 2021, there was a lot of people talking about minimalism and curating your collection. And there were lots of videos out there about that. And then even on my Facebook groups, there were lots of women saying, oh, I'm definitely adopting this one in, one out policy. You know, so if I buy a bag, I've got to sell one. And then there were people like laying their collection of bags out on the bed and saying, right, this is my collection, 10 of them have to go, which ones do you think? And, you know, there was this pressure to kind of curate your collection and get your bags down to this manageable amount of bags. And I must admit, for me, I felt really stressed about it. I felt really, really under pressure. I felt like I was being shamed for having too many bags and for, you know, buying a bag and not immediately selling one, and, you know, doing this one in, one out, and not curating my collection. And yet in reality, I felt that, you know, if you have to ask somebody which 10 bags you need to sell, you probably don't really want to sell those bags. Unless you really need the funds and you have to sell bags. But this was not the case. This was people purely saying, well, I've got to sell 10 bags because I feel it's too many. You know, there's this pressure to sell bags just for the sake of selling it, and to curate your collection. And then there were other videos, you know, how many bags is too many bags, and, you know, all this, that and the other. And there was a point where I did a picture thing of all my bags and put them into category and tried to see whether I should be getting rid of some of them. And then it's like a case of, no, get a grip. You don't want to get rid of any of your bags. I do occasionally sell my bags, but I only sell my bags when I am absolutely 100% sure that I will not use that bag ever again, and I do not want it, and I am more than happy to let it go to somebody else. If I have any doubt whatsoever, I will not sell the bag. I think in some ways seller's regret is worse than buyer's regret. If you sell a bag, it means you had it in the first place, so you know what you had and you know what you're missing when you sell it. So to me, sometimes seller's regret is worse. I need to be 100% sure when I sell my bags, and I don't want to be pressured or shamed into selling my bags because supposedly I have too many. You know, what is the optimum number of bags? You know, at the time, you know, they're saying, oh, I've got 30 bags, I need to get it down to 10. Why? Why do you need to get it down to 10? If you want more than 10 bags, have more than 10 bags. If you want 30 bags, have 30 bags. If you've got 30 bags and 5 of them you're absolutely certain you're never going to use again, then sell them. Yeah, fine, no problem. But don't feel pressured into selling bags because social media is telling you you have too many. And that's how I felt at the time. Luckily, I got over it. I sort of learned my lesson, was like, no, don't listen to those people telling me to sell my bags. That's not for me. I don't need to curate my collection. I'm happy with it. So then last year, the trend on social media was quiet luxury. And by then I had learnt my lesson. It was like, right, quiet luxury is not for me. If I want to wear my Chanel bag with the double CCs, if I want to show off my GGs on my Gucci bag, I'm going to. And I'm not going to be pressured into not wearing my logos if I want to wear my logos. So the lesson there is these trends, they come and go. Don't be shamed. Don't be pressured. You know, and again, maybe an overused phrase on luxury YouTube can be you do you, but there's a lot of sense behind that. You know, if a trend is not for you, it's not for you, just ignore it. And I'm not going to let myself get stressed anymore by social media telling me what I should or shouldn't be thinking about certain luxury items. I like my Fendi baguettes with the big FFs, and I'm going to continue to buy them. Another lesson I've learned is about kind of investment bags and resale and things like that. Now, I have never ever bought a handbag and looked at it as an investment. I've never made a decision on a handbag thinking, oh, this is an investment, because as I said before, I don't often sell my bags. So I've never bought a bag with the intention of in a few years' time selling it and making any sort of profit. However, over the years, I suppose I have bought various Louis Vuitton items and Chanel items that I know would probably hold their value more than certain other items. So I'd had a couple of years, I suppose, of buying bags that gave me a little bit of reassurance that should I decide to sell those bags, I probably would get close to what I paid, or I wouldn't lose a lot of money on them. So buying bags that gave me that little bit of reassurance then kind of made me a bit nervous to go back to some of the other brands and buy bags that might not, especially in the meantime there've been quite a few price increases. Again, social media was going on about, you know, investment bags and resale value, and there are some social media influencers and luxury YouTubers that do bang on about this quite a bit. I can think of one actually. She talks a lot about buying bags, you know, resale value, and then she often goes and buys trend bags herself, so she doesn't actually practice what she preaches, which I think is quite interesting, because it just shows that no matter how much you might want to, you know, do the sensible thing and buy the bag that will hold its value, your head does get turned by other bags. But I think, again, social media got me thinking, oh, maybe I shouldn't be looking at these bags that don't hold their value. But again, I need to tell myself, look, you know, you don't sell your bags. Why are you worrying about that? You know, again, if you love the bag, just buy it. And so I suppose that's what made me not buy a Fendi baguette until quite recently. It's because obviously Fendi baguettes don't really hold their value, but I got to the point where I just loved the baguette so much, I really wanted to get one, and it was just, doesn't matter, it's not an investment and I'm not buying it to resale. And now I've got the attitude, I look at it and I think, well, you know, I can't see myself selling my Fendi baguettes. I love them to bits. However, maybe in 10 years time my taste might change. I might have changed my mind. I might want to sell them. I know there's no way I'm going to get anywhere near what I paid, but my feeling is anything I get for it would be a bonus, and in the meantime, if I've lost £2,000, then I've had £2,000 of joy and happiness using that bag. So that's kind of the attitude I have now. Yeah, so although I never did look at my bags as investments, the lesson I've learned is don't just go for the bags that give you that reassurance that you might be able to resell it at a good price. If you love something, don't worry about resale price, just buy it and use it. So the lesson kind of connected to that as well is for me not to avoid brands just because their resale value is maybe not so good. You know, again, there are some great brands out there that make amazing products. They might not hold their value, but I don't think you should be buying with that in mind. You know, I think you should buy what you intend to use, buy what you think will give you joy using it, and don't avoid brands like Saint Laurent or Fendi that maybe don't hold their value, but you know, still produce some amazing products and that are definitely worth your time and effort having a look at. And then leading on from that, another lesson is to do with price increases. Now, you know, we know price increases are inevitable, and in recent years they've been quite aggressive. I have said on my wish list video that I would like to get another wallet on chain from Chanel. Now, it's a very bitter pill to swallow, knowing that if I walked into a Chanel boutique tomorrow to buy a wallet on chain, it's probably going to cost me at least £1,000 more than what this wallet on chain cost me a number of years ago. This is obviously my black wallet on chain in caviar. This was pretty pricey when I bought it. It has gone up over £1,000, I think, from when I bought it. That's an awful lot of money, and it is quite hard to get your head round that. So the lesson for me is I've got to try and be philosophical about it. These will never ever be cheaper than they are now. They will never ever go back to the price that I paid for this a few years ago. I have just got to swallow that pill, and if I want this product again, I've got to pay more for it. Luxury has gone up, it will keep going up, you know, it's inevitable, and you know, what you paid for something a number of years ago, if you want the same product again, you are going to have to pay a lot more for it. So in the interest of not making this video far too rambly and long, because it's probably quite rambly and long already, those are my main lessons. There are more. There are lots of other lessons that I have learnt buying luxury, and I'm sure I could ramble on for a lot longer, but I will call it a day there. I hope you've enjoyed that video. I hope it's been maybe a little bit useful. Luxury lessons I've learnt, very personal to me. Thank you so much again, Deb and Hannah, for tagging me. Thank you, Connor, for creating the tag. It has produced some really interesting videos. Please check out the other YouTubers' videos that I link below that have done this tag already. I'm going to have a look at who hasn't done this video yet, and I will tag them in the description box below if they want to give this video a go and share their luxury lessons learned. Thank you ever so much for watching. If you've enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up, and I really look forward to seeing you on the next one. Bye everyone.